Laku noć. Let's get going. I'm going to forward this to the Entourage boys now. Got out the shower and yeah, let's get into it. I've got a lot of notes here actually. What was I thinking about? I read a passage from a book called Flashman earlier today. Just a very short passage. The very first couple of pages of the entire series, and it's about a British hussar from the height of British colonialism in the 1800s, who is an aristocrat, and he gets kicked out of school, and he goes on to have this amazing military career, but he's a bit of a rogue. It's a great series, actually. It's called Flashman, the Flashman series. That the author made a fortune, and actually, it's a shame. It's a shame we live in the era that we do, because that character could have been on a level with a James Bond type character, but because of the political correctness, because it fundamentally centers on a character who is a English aristocrat during the colonial period. So it's kind of like it's kind of considered a bit of a naughty book, but it's basically, there's a lot of comedy to it. And just in that very first passage in the book, maybe I'll even see if I can pull it up. No, I won't bother. But he basically says, yeah, I just want to clear a few things up. When I got expelled from school, they said I got expelled for being drunk, which is true. But they said it's because I mixed my drinks. And that is absolute bullshit. That's not true at all. So I've been called many things. I've been called a scumbag, a dishonest cheat, a fraud, XYZ, and all these names under the sun. And all of it is basically true. But I do not mix my drinks. So that was the character Flashman, and his whole appeal really is the fact that he is basically a bastard. He's a true bastard, Flashman, and he just keeps getting away with things, and he just it's very funny, and like these kind of quite noble soldiers around him, some of them end up getting killed in battles and things, and Flashman, like, he always kind of he fights. He's a good fighter, but he always finds ways to sort of get himself out of situations, and he's always chasing women and getting himself in trouble with, like, I don't know, seducing like the sergeant's wife, and then he gets imprisoned in an Afghani jail at one point. This is like in the 19th century. So that passage, it just really sparked my thought. I thought that the whole appeal of this guy is that he is a bastard. That is the whole. No, bruv. We love Trump, yeah? We love Trump. Get off my channel, you fucking idiot. Yeah. No, we're not sad about Trump, bruv. We're thrilled about him, yeah? He's restoring civilization, is what he's doing. Anyway. But Trump is a good example. Actually, Trump's a perfectly good example, because you got all the fake nice guys in the Dems. All the fake nice guys are going to be nice to you. Meanwhile, they're literally raping your country with communism. They're introducing like a totalitarian fucking hellscape. Same with our prime minister, right, in the UK. So no, brother. Most of Europe, I'm afraid, is very much on the side of Trump anyway, the more advanced part of Europe. But anyway, I'm not here to talk about fucking Trump. Okay, this is a relationship channel, bro. Okay. So yeah, the bastard appeal. In fact, I'm just going to actually kick this guy out straight away. I don't want to be talking about politics on this channel. Yeah, he can fuck off. Brazilians are just, honestly, I'm sorry, they have too low critical faculties to talk about politics and stuff like that. I've lived in Brazil. They're the people with the lowest critical faculties I've ever seen. It's like talking to 12-year-olds. Sorry. I'm sorry. It is what it is. What do you want me to say? Yeah. Really, that country is it's not a developed country. Anyway. Some fit girls though. Oh my god. Remove this guy. Okay. So yeah, what's the art of being... I might have to stop seeing comments, to be honest, because it's kind of irritating. Yeah, the art of unleashing your inner bastard. Yeah, so if you're a nice guy, you already know that you're being fake. You already know that. You already know it's probably coming from some weird childhood thing where you had to get approval from people or some shit like that. You already know that. You already know it doesn't really work with women. And Ian, what's up, bro? What's up? We're talking about unleashing your inner bastard here. You already know all of this stuff. So the question is like, how do you actually unleash it, and what are some good examples of it? Um, so I'm going to go quite deep into this today. I've got quite a few notes here that I made just before we started. So let's get going with the bastard appeal. Think of like some of these really amazing characters from film, the amazing male characters like Bond, for example. Bond's the perfect bastard, right? Perfect bastard. Everyone who plays him well plays him that way, and he's a great example of it. What else do we have? Kind of Tom Cruise in in what's it called, with the planes. Oh my god, I'm so fucking knackered. Top Gun. Tom Cruise's character. I don't even know who the name of the character. A lot of Tom Hardy's characters are like this. The guy who plays in Legend. There's different types of bastard, right? The guy in Legend is an actual true bastard. Yeah, Connery, best bastard Bond. Yeah, he's very good. Yeah. But Hardy plays like an actual hardcore criminal bastard, like a real criminal. And he's compelling. And he's compelling because he's a bastard. Same with Al Pacino's characters in obviously The Godfather. He's compelling because he becomes this. In fact, he goes from being the nice guy to the dark bastard. So it's a very compelling story. You look at people from history, who are people interested in? Well, they are interested in some people like saints and things of that nature, but actually, in many cases, they're interested in the great conquerors. They're interested in like people like fucking Vlad Tepes. I mean, if there was ever a bastard, he was a bastard. Yeah, the Impaler, right? So these people hold a fascination. Obviously, they're at the extreme end, but in general, just being a bit more bastardish I think it's good for your mental health. To be honest, I think it's good for your well-being because it's honest. And then also, I think there is like an actual sex appeal to them as well. There is an actual sex appeal to them. A girl doesn't really fantasize about being fucked by a choir boy. What was it? They say like I think Jordan Peterson said this. He said he's such a nerd, but sometimes he comes out with some great stuff. He said that when they researched like female fantasies, and it was like, well, the top fantasies were vampire and werewolf. Do you know what I mean? So like, oh shit, it's the second time I've meant, yeah. I was actually thinking about impalement today. I'll come back to that in a second, but yeah, the sexual fantasies of women are like vampires, werewolves. Yeah, they're not choir boys. Yeah, this is what they want. They want to be dragged down into the darkness, and you want to do that anyway yourself. It's kind of like why don't we just all just do what we want to do, and so, yeah, like how do you actually embody this inner bastard? I think this is quite a good question for people who do cold approach. It's quite interesting because you want to be polite, and it's kind of like when you're doing it well. When you're doing it well when you have embodied that inner bastard because you feel very light and humorous, but at the same time you're a little bit prickly and provocative. That's how it feels when you're in that kind of zone. I often find like at the start of my sessions, sometimes, or just there's certain days, I feel like I'm very too polite because I'm wanting to get especially out here actually in the Balkans, because I want to get the conversation started. I can find it quite difficult to go into bastard mode straight away because I'm like, are these girls ready for it? I don't fucking know. There's not much of that type of interaction going on in the daytime. Even in the UK, I feel actually the day brings, especially on the initial, I find it brings a bit more of my, should we say, above board personality out as compared to the nighttime, which is probably arguably, I don't know if it's good or bad, but embodying that inner bastard in the day is a tricky one. But I think one of the things you can do is a kind of like playful teasing and playful humor. That is also good. Exactly. a bit of a flirt and a troll without yeah, but while still being polite. Yeah, yeah. In general, actually, especially at nighttime, you're better pushing it beyond the bounds of politeness. You're best actually pushing it way beyond the bounds of politeness. But daytime, I don't know. Um, I think you can do a lot with your look, with your actual visual engagement. Um, I think you can do a lot with that. So yeah, playful teasing is good. And actually, this is one of those things. This is really the foundation of a relationship, or at least my relationships anyway. Is like this really is the actual foundation of it. So the approach is one thing, but the approach is only what, like 10%, if that, 5% of the overall thing you're getting into with a woman. It's a nice thing to look back on. But ultimately, it doesn't really matter that much. They're not going to fall in love with you because you did a good approach on them. Like, you know, you might get their number and you get them on a date, and then it's a nice memory. But like as time goes on, yeah, bringing some of that bastard energy is important because otherwise you're just a wet blanket, really. That's something that needs to be peppered in. And again, playful humor, teasing humor, calling them out on their bullshit, which they're obviously going to throw at you. It's almost a gift to us that they don't have particularly rational brains a lot of the time, so you can just call them out on it in a humorous way. And I've even done this with girls who like, I remember literal professor. I remember her like, yeah, calling her out on something, which is quite funny. She said she was ranting on about how men call her attractive, and she's like, "What right do you have to call me attractive or pretty or whatever?" And I was like, "You are not pretty." Well, I said it like dead serious, and she got so offended, and I was like, checkmate. You just got offended, so you do care. It was like quite funny because I don't know, that was like a weird call out, like the feminist call out. She was a Colombian though, so it doesn't really run that deep with someone like that, but she was a PhD girl. So yeah, even intelligent girls, they say irrational, fucking stupid shit all the time. They need calling out. Um, so that playful teasing, yeah, is very, very good. And there's different angles, right? There's like the Tom Hardy type of energy, which is a bit more, I don't know, it's a bit more brooding and combative. You've got the Deadpool type of energy, which was honestly about 7-8 years ago. Like some of my friends were like, I had a different energy then, like really quite different. I remember some of my friends were like, they went to watch Deadpool and they were like, that guy is literally like you. He's just a complete merc artist. He's just constantly because that's kind of what I would do to the girls. I'd just constantly take the piss out of them to a ridiculous degree all the time and just not take anything seriously. But then, you know, like maybe, I don't know, maybe because I could still dance or something, I still had a bit of competence to me. So I wasn't a complete, I don't know, like clown or something. So yeah, he's kind of interesting model. A lot of girls like Deadpool. So there's different ways you can go about it, right? Or you can be the full-on criminal, but I don't think you're watching this live if you're a full-on criminal. You'll probably be committing crimes. But yeah, they're all the commonality, I suppose, is like bad boys. They're not really taking. They don't take any nonsense, really. They don't take any nonsense. And yeah, I've got a note. Nietzsche was the bad boy philosopher, which he was. So even like naughty Nietzsche, he was the bad boy of philosophy. So you can even apply it to like a philosopher, you know. The inner bastard. He was a bastard of a philosopher for sure. And yeah, there is an actual appeal to this. That's my next note here. This is an actual real appeal to them. Like it's actually a sexual appeal. And it's not, oh, I like him despite the fact he's a bastard. They might say that, but the actual reality is, I like him because he is a bastard. Usually you have to have some goodness as well, obviously. Yeah. Like, I mean, you can just be a complete through and through bastard, like all the way through. That actually can work as well. It's not really me, to be honest. Kind of like just go half and half on it. Yeah, you're probably better off going like that all the way through than you are being Mr. Ray of Sunshine all the way through. And this is where all that Eastern mysticism shit goes wrong, all that Buddhism stuff. It's too passive. All these spiritual guys who are like, I had a fucking yoga teacher like this. I almost went down this route a little bit, but it's like it's too nice. It's too fucking nice. It's not actually real. It's not actually real, and it's kind of fake as well, to be honest with you. Um, those guys like you're not gonna. They're getting some all right yoga girls, but like the real sultry, spicy, hot girls, they're not getting with a fucking that type of person. So a lot of intelligent guys, myself included, can go down that route, can start to get quite invested in this whole Eastern fucking presence type thing. Yeah, it's all good, but don't go too crazy with it. Yeah, you're not Eastern yet. If you're a European, like I'm saying this as someone who did this, it's pretty fucking cringe when you start to go down too far down that route. Like, if you're from that part of the world, it's kind of your thing. Fair enough, that fits in. But these like Europeans, like they fucking turn their house into an ashram. I don't know, man. It's a bit fucking weird. Um, but yeah, the bastard thinks for himself. The bastard thinks for himself. The bastard has his own thoughts. Um, what else do I have here? Yeah, they have courage as well. They stick to their guns as well. Yeah, so the art of being the bastard. And actually, even if you're straight laced, actually, I'm going to say this: if you're straight laced, if you're just a naturally straight laced guy, that's cool. That's good. You don't need to become like a criminal. But if you're a naturally straight laced guy, you have to have a backbone. You have to. You literally have to. That's actually the most important thing because you might not be perceived as super exciting, but that's okay. If you've got a backbone, that's probably even better. It's probably even better. So yeah, the guys who are more straight laced by their nature or profession and stuff, you really, really have to have a clear backbone at all times, not just with the girl, at all times. It doesn't stop with the girl. The girl is just you it's there with her, but it's a thing across the whole time. I've just been reading Bhagavad Gita with all one life force. Want to come back to my ashram, but just, bruv, I've done this. I learned like some kind of Indian kind of like massage techniques and all this type of thing. I got into yoga. I got into meditation. It's a phase I think most open-minded like Western guys are going to go through at some point. It's just like probably in your late 20s, mid 20s. Everyone's going to go through it. The trick is don't stay there for the rest of your life. Um, yeah, it's uh, it's an interesting one. I think it is a good thing overall, but like, yeah, you don't want to stay there for your whole fucking life. I can see why Westerners though get into it because it's like life can be so stale, for the professionals and stuff. I can see why a little bit of exotica doesn't do you any harm, does it? But I just think for men it's a little bit soft, to be honest. I think you need a little bit of that edge in there as well, or a lot of that edge, to be honest. Um, think about the male physique. The male physique, a good male physique is essentially a male physique which can inflict violence. That's essentially what it is. A good physique on a man is essentially a dangerous um, physique, you know. Um, yeah, and it kind of shows as well, like the goody two shoes schoolboy mentality. That's drilled into us, from being a child. I remember getting a star, giving a gold star from my teacher because they said whoever can open the door for the ladies the most. I mean, this is fucking. It sounds archaic now, doesn't it? Like if you're notably doing that, you can get stars. And I was just being a mercenary about it. I just wanted the stars. But I'm there every day, like holding the door open for my teachers, like on a constant basis, but only the women, because we got a gold star for it. Imagine, I mean, like think about that. The training and so on that goes into it. There's a lot of training as well in the West, and actually, I'd say probably even in the Balkans as well, about like not making women feel uncomfortable. And it's like they do want to feel uncomfortable. They want to feel that ebb and flow and those emotions, and um, you know, yeah. The girls who like me, they're always girls who, you know, over time I might have broken up with them or might just sack them off for a week or something just because I got busy or what. There's always some kind of drama, and then they even say like, yeah, that just being with you is like adrenaline. I'll get adrenaline from it, and it's like, well, fine. If that's what works, if that's what works. It's usually accidental when you create it though. It's usually accidental. Um, Women feel uncomfortable on a daily basis. Nothing you can do about it. Yeah, that's also true as well. Especially, I mean, especially some chicks, man. That's actually why I like Dominican girls, because the ups and downs are just kind of laughable. You know, they're just like, they're not that bad. Some girls, like European girls and stuff, I'm like, I can't be bothered with this bullshit. You know, like a little bit, sure, you're a woman, that's fine, but it's too much. Um, so yeah, what do we have here? So bad boys think for themselves, the bastard thinks for himself. You know, think of the pirate, yeah, think of the werewolf, the vampire. There's something like about the predator as well that's actually sexually arousing for women. Um, I do actually think I had a go at a guy earlier on the live who just started bringing politics into it straight away. But I actually do think that what has been happening around the Western world, which has obviously been funded, yeah, as we've now realised by communists, to essentially cock men, that's going to go away now. That's going to go away. It's already happening. Like I know even here in the Balkans, some of those NGOs they've already closed. They've already fucked off. So nature will be able to return, which is a great thing. So I think this is going to be a new epoch. I think there'll always be the nice guy scenario going on, but it will be a lot more normalized just to be your inner bastard, basically. Um, yeah, think about Macbeth and Lady Macbeth. You know, Lady Macbeth chastises him because he's not alpha enough because he won't kill the king, like his own fucking wife, man. At that point, actually, he should have turned on her. He should have actually turned on her and said, "No, fuck you," you know, or just bounced, or just given her the knife or something. I don't know, and then thrown her in jail. Um, yeah, that's quite a good example, actually. Yeah, because Macbeth, he let his wife get the better of him. He let his wife get the better of him. She bullied him. She shamed him. And yeah, she ends up manipulating him into doing something that he thought it through and actually thought, no, fuck that, I'm not doing that. And as she manipulates him into it, and all hell breaks loose. I've put down here in my notes, difficult to do for professionals to go into bastard mode or to go into that more assertive mode. If it depends on the profession you're in, but it can take a little fucking adjustment to get out of. Yeah, it's a good play, mate. It's a tremendous play. It's a tremendous play. Um, but yeah, I think for professionals, this can. I was thinking about this today. You know, like imagine if you're a rock star, your job is to go on stage and just rock out, yeah, like you're amazing rock star, and then this girl's screaming at you anyway, then you just bang them and stuff, and then your behavior is going to be pretty on point anyway, naturally. You're just going to be a natural seducer at all times. Plus, you've got like insane pre-select, whatever, you know, you're a rock star, right? I was like, okay, but what about other professions? And I was thinking, actually, think about someone like Trump, who is a property mogul. He's out doing really hard deals with people on a daily basis, where he's got to be, he's got to be very assertive at all times, and he can be a little bit nice, but he's got to be a bastard. To an extent, property like that on that level is kind of a zero sum game. To an extent, a lot of very bright people get into it and try it on that scale, and they find it's like, man, it's actually hard to make fucking money on this. That's kind of well documented. Um, so yeah, you've got to be able to fucking negotiate like fuck. So someone like that would be a good example. He's obviously not going to struggle when he gets into. He doesn't have to go into a different mode when he gets out of his job. That his job is him. Maybe I don't know, like maybe some creatives as well. Their job is them. If you're a policeman, if you're a soldier, you're gonna carry that natural authority with you. Although it's going to be constrained, you are going to carry that natural authority with you all the time through your personal life, through your work life. It's easy. But then imagine you're going into an office where you've got to basically be a cock for like 12 hours, and then you got to come out, and then you've got to try and be your dynamic, independent self. You've got to lay down like boundaries, or you've got to just be yourself, be more risque, be more of a fucking risk taker. That's fucking difficult to do. That's difficult to do. Um, and yeah, there's like guys in the entourage who got quite intensive jobs where they have to essentially put on an act. I know Richie does. Richie, you in, bruv? Are you here? Um, I know he sometimes watches in the background. I bet he's working at the moment. If he is watching, and then even to an extent myself, it depends on the scenario, but to a large extent, a lot of the time, there's a lot of fucking acting that has to go on. A lot. I'd say about 80%. 20% no. There's an element of authenticity, but there is quite a lot of acting that has to go on, and I can't swear, for example, ever in my work or anything like that. Um, it's very, very constrained, but it has to be. There's no other way to do it. So I mean, that's on me. I choose to do that. Um, but it takes me a moment when I finish that fortunately, I'm just very aware of the fact it's an act, so it never becomes me. Fortunately, I know that it's an act, but part of me does wonder: is there still a hangover from that carries? Because your job it does tend to influence you a lot in your day-to-day life. Um, yeah, yeah, and you imagine like doctors. This is the thing with the economy is you have to being a people pleaser is actually good in the economy because without you still have to have even there you have to have boundaries because you need to set your price and value and so on. But to some extent, being a people pleaser is good. You think of the restaurant you go to, and the people just fundamentally don't give a shit if you're having a good time or not. You're not going to go back. Whereas the people who take care over you, and they actually do care, they are people pleasers, you're going to go back. You're going to feel looked after. You're going to go back to their service. So in the economy, being a people pleaser is actually good. I would actually say in interpersonal dynamics with women, it's almost an inversion. You don't earn a woman, you take her. You don't earn a woman, you take her. Yeah, it's actually one of the worst things you can do is try to earn the woman. It's not a great thing to do. Get investment from them and spend time with them, but trying to earn the woman is the worst thing to do. Um, so there's almost an inversion. It's almost like things that work in the economy, in terms of our primal nature as men and women, you do the opposite. You do the opposite. It's quite interesting. Like, I would actually argue that the economy is less natural, actually. We trained into it from a young age, but our natural self is obviously a lot more selfish. But we learn to be something for the purpose of the economy. And that potentially is a good thing. Like you delight other people, and then they give you resources, and then you give your resources to people who delight you. It seems like a fair system. It does actually work. Um, but yeah, there's a risk. There's a risk. It can especially if you really have to act, like if you're in a corporate job or something. In some countries as well. Um, yeah. So I'll put that there. It can be difficult for professionals to do. Um, yeah, we train it out of our natural selves to an extent. This becomes unnatural. It seems. Yeah. Um, that's reminding me of a quote from Macbeth now. Unnatural deeds do breed unnatural thoughts. No, it's unnatural deeds do breed unnatural. What is it? Unnatural problems or something. It's when Lady Macbeth goes mad. I should be able to quote a little bit better, I think. But anyway, um, let's just do after this live. Let's just talk about Macbeth. Um, yeah, and so in terms of switching out of that professional mode, as I say, it depends on who you are. If you're like a combative lawyer in court, I mean, you're going to be spicy anyway, aren't you? Or if you're a rock star, or if you're a negotiator. But let's say your job isn't that way. You've got more of a nurturing job, or you work in mental health or something. How are you going to be a G if you work in mental health? Yeah, it's you can't, can you? I mean, you're not doing your job properly, right? You've got to do a different job. Um, it's same in many fields, right? So if you're in that type of profession, you need a way to snap out of that and bring a bit of the spice. I find actually going to a club, being in music, that's really helpful. Getting a shower, I just literally for me, changing my clothes is the biggest one. As soon as I stop work, I change my clothes. literally the instant, that's the first thing I'll do, change my clothes straight away. Then I can go back into my natural self. Being with, we're all, the brain is all about triggers. So like you go to one state and like you'll go into a different state and you go into this state and you go into that state. So once you finish work, just anything that gives you an association, change your clothes, put the music on, bang, you can actually snap out of that state, that unnatural state, and go back into your natural self. I was watching something. Fuck knows how I got onto this. Like a very, very in-depth, like on the cutting edge of brain science. It was quite obscure, and they were talking. It was quite mathematical. They're talking about cascades in the brain, how most things are kind of like it's like a cascading effect. So whatever activity is going on in neurons, it starts off small and then it cascades. So that's what you kind of do. To get into a new state, you start off small and then you keep going. That's going to cascade up. But so yeah, so when you switch in state, that's what you kind of do have to have some kind of cue to do that. In my experience, sexual excitement. Okay, yeah, sexual excitement. The bad boy and sexual excitement. It should be a given. This I feel like this shouldn't even need explaining really. But you know, who's the biggest selling? What was the biggest selling novel of the last like 30 years? Was 50 Shades. Yeah. Let's take away the fact that the guy is like he's rich and good looking, whatever. All that stuff is it doesn't even really matter. The stuff about him is he's a BDSM freak, right? Disciplining this girl, right? She needs it. He needs it. This is what it is. Just read the fucking books, guys. Read the books. 50 Shades of Grey. Women flock to that en masse. Could they have given us a clearer indication of what they want? They proved it with their wallets and their time. Yeah, they're not looking for the choir boy. BDSM is mandatory. Yeah, mandatory BDSM training. Yeah, you should do that after university. Take a gap year. That's going to be my new business. I'm a BDSM trainer for 22-year-olds. Yeah, before you go into the world of work and get married and all that type of stuff, we want to keep you on the straight and narrow. We want your marriage to be successful. Yeah, when you marry Susie from accounts, we want you to have a good, strong marriage. This is going to entail some BDSM. Yeah, I'm going to put some of this stuff in now. I've got some emails. I'm basically working on like an email series that I'm going to link to my videos in the future. And some of this stuff is going to go into those. I am slightly afraid because I'm going to go quite hard on it. So I'm wondering if like, they'll get flagged or something. Yeah, there's a new one about fairies, Court of Thorns and Roses. Yeah, mandatory BDSM. Exactly, get the BDSM masters. Yeah, or just, whatever. You can vary it up, obviously, then you can have kisses and cuddles and things like that, but there has to be an element of this in there. There just got to be. They need it, man. They need it way more than we do. Way more. This should actually be like the number one priority, in my opinion, for guys to just get some kind of a grasp on. Even if it's only just kind of psychological. So yeah, I talked about jobs, sexual excitement. Yeah, girls want it more. Yeah, loss of identity in jobs. People can lose their identity in it. And also women can as well, by the way. So it does affect them as well. It's not just the whole world's against men. It's the same for women. They can't be their natural selves in their job either. Sexual bully. This is what I've written down here. I don't even need to shag her. Just BDSM bully her. Oh my god. It's true. It's true. You don't even need to have sex with a girl if you don't want to. I mean, you probably will want to, but yeah, you actually even need to, which is kind of interesting for them to perceive it as an experience. I mean, like at some point, you want that as well, but yeah. So what else do we have notes-wise? So I've covered that quite quickly, actually. Take a little time or have to queue for me. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying about getting into state. Like you don't have to be in state, like when you go out or whatever, just to go and do some approaches. But like, say for me now, like before I start work, 'cause I'm working a lot evenings at the moment, and it's very mentally intense and socially intense. I really don't want to approach beforehand. Like I went out for a walk and I was like, I feel that doing that approach would detract from the strength that I'm going to have to muster in about like in a little while. I'm going to have to muster all my strength. I just did like a really intensive afternoon and evening, which took a lot. It does take a lot, man. Um, and then I thought if I go and do an approach, if I'm start approaching beforehand, I'm like I'm gonna be cooked before I even start work because my system's gonna start going into that and whatever. Um, so it's actually one of the reasons why I actually prefer to, if I'm going to approach girls, is to do it after work, really, or even engage with them in general. Like if it's my girlfriend or something, yeah, engage after work. Um, this is why clubs in the right place can be good because it puts you in that state. This is also why, like, if you are doing approaches and stuff, like if you can get a bit of free time to do it, like Balthus did in the entourage. He's a public entourage member. He actually took time out of his schedule. He went on a holiday. He took a few days to acclimatize. Then he started approaching, and then that energy just is kind of swinging with him as he's coming back into his own country. I noticed a big change in even the way he speaks on messages because he's got a kind of flow with it. I do also wonder as well, Balthus, if you're on, it'd be interesting to know, has your new job or your new role where you don't have to be so subservient to people like you did in your previous role in the hotels, has your new job actually helped you in this? Like, because to be more assertive, you're going for sales, you're more of a go-getter now. You've got a different energy. Is that actually? Because I think that will cross over into your approaches. I think it's all going to be a positive circle, actually. Um, 'Cause me and Richie are a bit more like we have to go in and out of the state or of the right place. You can't transfer really over like what he's doing with all his corporate kind of politics he's got to play. What I'm doing, we can't be in that, that kind of pirate state. We just can't, right? Otherwise, it's just not going to work. Um, so yeah, we have to get good at sort of switching over, which is fine. Like I've been doing it. I've been leading a fucking double life my whole fucking adult life, and probably some of my teenage life as well. Just leading the double life. Um, and then yeah, so having that cue, music, getting to the club, friends, just being with friends as well. That's why I'm doing these lives on Thursday because effectively, like my week at the moment is Sunday, Thursday, and Friday is like more of an admin day. So this is kind of like the beginning of my weekend in a way. And yeah, I'm producing, instead of going out, I'm producing content. What a nerd. And the last thing I've got here, actually, it was the politicians. One of the things that actually makes people trust some politicians they actually like is these no bullshit guys who are seen as like, instead of the ones who are kind of seen as the fake nice guys. There's nothing more repulsive than the fake nice guy politician. It's almost universally repulsive to anyone. And there's nothing more refreshing than politicians or political figures who just come out and they just start swinging a little bit more. Obviously, there's still politics, but yeah, that's actually probably the big man, Orange Man. That's probably his biggest thing, man. He's a swinger. He just comes out swinging. And that's like, I mean, it's gone from it's morphed way beyond anything. It's morphed way beyond even. It's morphed way beyond even his own country at this point. It's like, it's like I think it's going to become like the global movement for the reclaiming of the West. Like I actually think it's that big. I think this thing that's just happened we'll look back on it in the future is ushering in a new era for the next 70 years, or maybe longer, I don't know, or some time, who knows? Ushering something in, something's changing. Yeah. You look across Europe, I don't want to go too much into politics, but I do follow it a lot because it's all power games at the end of the day. Like, and it does affect you as well. If you're a nomad, if you're a traveler, where is the going good, you know? Um, do I have to be? It almost felt like I had to, you almost feel like you're a cultural fugitive for a few years. Whereas I think now there's a chance that the restoration of the true culture is going to happen, or it seems to was already happening. Um, you pull the plug on all that money that's gone to fund all the bullshit, it'll all go away, won't it? And just be left with idiots shouting into a void, and everyone else can just enjoy their life, basically. Um, yeah. Did you hear me at the start of the live, Ian, slagging off Brazil? Did you hear that? A guy came in from Brazil. He started talking politics straight away, and then started saying how Europe must be really like we really like hate the orange man and stuff like that. Brazil, man, the critical thinking skill. I said the critical thinking skills in Brazil, honestly, they're atrocious. Where I was living in Salvador, they're literally atrocious. The Brazilians are too impulsive and impetuous to have good critical thinking skills. I know that's like probably like jingoistic as fuck, but there's a lot of truth in it. There's a lot of truth in it. Just completely batshit. Completely batshit. Yeah. Um, that was honestly one of the reasons I had to leave. I was like, I can't take these people anymore. I can't take them. But I was in Salvador de Bahia, which is essentially a communist area of Brazil. So that was pretty heavy going, dealing with those guys. Yeah. And yeah, but anyway, that guy brought it up like as soon as the live started. I'm like, mate, please, like, just honestly, just fuck off. Let's not let's not do that right at the beginning. Um, so yeah, that was a bit of stuff on the appeal of the danger man, the appeal of the bastard. All of these guys, women. There's a passage in Nietzsche where he says, just the soldier is something like the soldier wants to give his life to prove what a good soldier he is, and the woman wants her lover to be unfaithful to her so that she can prove what a martyr she is to his love, to her own love, so she can prove like there is something in that. I'm not saying necessarily the infidelity part, but like that she has to put up with a bastard. It kind of proves her own love to herself. Like there's some psychology going on there. Um, yeah, I don't think I've lost too many girls from being unfaithful. I've definitely lost a couple, definitely. In general though, not too many. And some girls like it does make them want you more. Um, so yeah, it's an interesting one. I'm in this new phase now, actually, and I'm in this new phase where, yeah, Nietzsche's. I've never seen Nietzsche matched, man. I've never seen him matched. I've got him. I always buy a copy everywhere I go. This is my. I bought this, I think, in Macedonia. I always buy a copy of. There's always some weird revamped collection of his essays. I can't get enough of him. He's such a good thinker. His throwaway thoughts, like his throwaway aphorisms, like the amount the guy covered that people don't even know that he really covered is completely crazy. Um, yeah, you were quoting Nietzsche earlier. What was the quote? Um, yeah, I think I've read most of his works. I've definitely read about 80% of his works. I think there's probably one or two that I've not read, but like the more obscure ones, I think all the main ones I've read. Funnily enough, Zarathustra's the one I dislike. It's the only one I dislike because I don't think he's a good prose writer at all. I think he's a very bad prose writer, actually. Unless it's a kind of lost in translation thing. Um, but all the aphorisms, he's such an incisive thinker. Um, yeah, we could be in the Nietzschean era actually at the moment. I think there is something to that. Like Nietzsche and Christ somehow you kind of somehow bringing them together in some kind of way. It seems contradictory, but I think it is kind of the spirit of like, yeah, where we're going. Um, So yeah, where I'm just thinking, I was going to talk about where I'm at in terms of relationships. So I was thinking about this as well, like guys who want to live the playboy lifestyle and have loads of girls. I mean, I just don't think that's real, and I don't think that's actually real, to be honest with you, these days. Um, yeah, I'll come back to that. That's a big thing here, Ian. But I'll come back to that in a moment. But yeah, the playboy lifestyle of having tons of girls and all this type of thing, I just don't think that's where I don't feel that's where the culture's actually going at the moment. That's kind of what I'm noticing. Um, I noticed the younger generation of men, they want money more than they want chicks. We were the opposite. We just wanted to have fun. This younger generation, they want money bad at a young age as well. At 16, 17. I've seen it like 16-year-old kids starting businesses, starting marketing businesses and stuff. Like starting email, like not email, like website design business, just all this stuff. That that was definitely not there 20 years ago, 25 years ago when I was a kid. It wasn't there at all. You knew you're gonna have to have a career. You're just gonna have to. There's no option. And so like your 20s, you kind of want to like enjoy yourself as much as you can as well because you know you're gonna be working forever. These kids want to get rich fast. Um, yeah. Oh wait. Yeah, and that's the other thing as well is the actual, the economics. Like, I mean, I had my wrecking ball stage long after '08, to be fair, but that was, you know what it was actually in the after the '08 thing, it was kind of like almost for a few years, almost like what's the point? May as well go and have fun. May as well enjoy our 20s because who fucking knows what's gonna happen? Um, yeah, yeah, the younger generation don't really get that. Like a lot of people coming out of university around then, it was like, I mean, it was a nightmare. It's one of the reasons why I'm in the job that I'm in, and it's one of the reasons that I've traveled so much is because of that exact period. Um, if I had been 5 years older, I assume I probably would have ended up in London just doing the same type of shit everyone else was doing. I would assume. I don't know. Um, yeah, but no, even it's not even the '08 thing though, Ian. It's like post. I think it's post Andrew Tate, to be honest. And also, there's also a lot more options to exchange value online now, and the barrier to entry is much lower. And actually, the youth has an advantage over older people, which is not true in most areas of the economy. Normally, normally, if you're all applying yourself equally in a given profession, normally someone who's been applying themselves for 20 years has an advantage over someone who's been applying themselves for like 6 months or 2 years or whatever, can be quite a substantial advantage. With the online world, that's no longer the case in that particular space. So there's just like there was no time in the past where you had like 25-year-olds, 23-year-olds who actually legitimately had made like tens of millions of pounds. That just wasn't that was not a thing. Unless you're a footballer, that was it. You were a footballer or you were a rapper, and that was it. Or you sold drugs, and even then you didn't make much money, really. Like maybe a couple hundred grand or something before you get shot or go to prison. So these young guys making a lot of money on whatever they're doing, fucking, whatever they're doing, all sorts of options. Even the city guys, they've made like the young city guys been making like 100K. They weren't making millions like the guys are now. Um, yeah, yeah. If I can't afford to live, then why should I be chasing girls? Yes, exactly, exactly. So finances have taken a bigger. I think have taken become more of a front runner. I would say. Yeah, I feel that in the culture. I really feel that. And it's not to say men and women aren't still going to have their relationships and even hook up and stuff like that, but I just feel that in the culture. Um, yeah, I don't know. Um, Also apps as well, man. They've killed nightlife. It kind of killed nightlife, so there's that side of things is also gone. Like it's just disappeared a lot. Um, so yeah, I think now it's more about yeah, play the field a little bit, but I think there's going to be more and more guys younger who are just like, either chilling, staying out, and or just want to get girlfriends basically, and just go like, you know, I don't have the fucking time to spend chasing women. I don't have the resources. Like I've got to work 7 days a week or 6 days a week. Like I can have a girlfriend on that, but I can't actually have like five girlfriends. It's not actually possible. Um, yeah, if I can't afford to live, then I should be chasing girls. You feel yeah. I mean, it just is part of the culture at the moment, so it is what it is. Actually, it's probably more of a return to normality. That's what I was thinking. You know, we were potentially living in an aberration in quite decadent times for a long time. Um, God is dead, but given the way of men, there may still be caves for thousands of years in which his shadow will be shown. Yeah, he's not dead in the Balkans, bro. I'll say that. God is not dead in the Balkans. No way. Um, it does feel like like I'm going back into like 1800 Europe of the 1800s, to be honest, being out here. Like I suspect I suspect that this is quite similar to how people would have been in Western Europe. I think Westerners are more expressive in general, but I think there would have been like a lot of similarities between like people in the Balkans and like medieval Europe. Um, Obviously they're educated in the modern world and all this type of thing, but the culture, they never went through the Renaissance, they never went through the Enlightenment. It's always been ortho, and a bit of communisti as well on top of it, and obviously the Ottomans as well. So there's always been some kind of thick ideology over the top. Um, Out here, like in Serbia, I've met girls like goth girls, and I was like say like, oh, you know, your tattoos now, that's an interesting tattoo, and it's just probably I don't even care about the tattoo, it's just something to say to the girl in the open. And I remember like she was like, oh yeah, it's Saint Michael. I was like, this is nuts, man. Goth girls here have got tattoos of like saints, and they're actually genuinely religious. It's quite nice. It's quite nice. There's a depth to it, to the Slavic world that I do like. I mean, I've been out here now 6 months since September. Um, I probably will take a break, I think, soon. Obviously, I'm going to Barca, probably take a break soon and then come back out for the summer. Um, yeah, but there is a depth to it. So, like, I'm just like, imagine being raised like how they're raised your whole life. They're definitely like, yeah, they're definitely quite, I would say, in a way, suppressed, the Slavs. I would say they're a little bit, I'd say they're quite suppressed in some ways. Um, yeah, yeah, the St. Michael tattoo. Yeah, Nietzsche, you know, the bad boy. I am not a man, I am dynamite. Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean, what you just said then about pining for the old ways, I found that coming out here. Like, I go to North Macedonia, like, why am I living in North Macedonia? Does it even make sense? And it's not just me, there's thousands of men, and pretty much most men who've got the means to, or a remote business, who feel something is missing where they're from. It doesn't make sense, you know, from like an economic point of view, to move to a less developed country, or well, in theory less developed, but certainly a less wealthy country. It doesn't actually make sense. You know, like got guys from like the US going to like live in like fucking El Salvador and Costa Rica and stuff. It doesn't make sense really on a economic point from an economic point of view, but it does make all the sense in the world from inside. From just like there is a longing to experience something that's gone. It's gone. Um, and you're just left with just distraction and technocratic bullshit in the West. Um, Yeah, I'd say there are pockets of quality. I think Lisbon is one of the big pockets in the West. I think it's one of the big pockets of spirit, where there's just a lot of spirit, and I don't know, there's just something there. There's something there. Um, I think it's like it's a haven. I think within Western Europe. It's a shame it's got fucking expensive now, but it is a haven. Yeah, but even before remote income, I mean, the guys who go traveling places, like my friend Raphael, he's in his 50s. He lived in Cuba in the 90s and Brazil. Um, it actually can be done, but I respect that generation of travelers the most actually because they're like I respect that generation of travelers the most actually because they really put it on the line to do their missions. I know that I would have done the same thing to be honest, but I've done it. I've done it in probably a better way to be honest, an easier way. Um, yeah, Raphael's stories are a fucking different level, dude. Living in Cuba in like 1998 is fucking insane. That's absolutely insane. And then he was in Salvador de Bahia in 2003. And I think before those places, well, particularly Brazil, before Brazil got westernized. So you said earlier on the girls are hot. Brazilian girls are not hot, man. Out of the countries I've been in the last 4 years, Brazilian girls would be rank bottom of the list. Um, Maybe Americans below them, obviously, because they're obese, but Brazilian girls are not hot. I believe they used to be hot, but they've got obese as fuck. Salvador de Bahia is like 50% obese. All these curvaceous mulattas, no, they're just obese, dude. Like morbidly obese. And it's all the American food, man. It's all the American food that's gone down there. Um, Rio, yeah, there's some super babes like the fucking girl, the fit ones in Brazil are some of the fittest. It's a weird one. It's like Prince and the Pauper. The fit ones in Brazil really are some of the fittest in the world, the fittest you'll ever see. But then the average quality, honestly, is pretty fucking low. It actually is pretty low. You're on average. Um, Weird. It's actually weird. UK quality on average is better by quite a margin than Brazil. Rio, it's like a lot of those the favela girls and stuff. They're just like malnourished, just like super skinny in Rio. Those girls, and then you got the obese ones. Um, And then yeah, you've got the middle class ones who are fitter and stuff. I'd say yeah, those middle class girls are fit. Um, yeah, it's a weird one, Brazil, but like the average is actually not that good. It's kind of the average is I would say was that's one of those notably disappointing things. The two countries everyone thinks are going to be really fit, Cuba and Brazil. Psst, it's total opposite. It's total opposite. Cuba was even worse. Cuba was basically atrocious. Um, yeah, not fit girls at all. Not at all. Um, yeah, weird, weird. I don't know what the difference is in like the food or something. I feel like it's the food, to be honest. I feel like it's the food. Um, Serbian girls are decent. Macedonian girls are decent. Turkish girls are decent. Bosnian girls are very decent. English girls, you got a whole mixed bag. Fucking, you got everything in England. You've also got a lot of foreign girls. Um, Dominicans are very extremely fucking good. Um, I do have a slight fear with the DR. They might go in the same direction because of the American food, though. I did start to notice that last time I was there. I was like, I feel like there's a few more. We're moving from thick to something else here. We're starting to move a little bit further. Um, yeah, yeah. Turkish girls are fucking fit. Turkish girls are very fit. Some of these countries though are just like I just you have to be really serious. Like I think if you're going to Turkey or something, you have to want to get a Turkish girlfriend. You're not just gonna slam loads of Turkish babes. I just don't think that's real in their country. It's probably quite dangerous as well. Um, so yeah, coming to the end of the month. Got my admin day tomorrow, and then I might get out on a little session tomorrow, and maybe go to the Hilton rooftop bar. I went there last Friday night. That's actually really good. That was really, really good. Hilton rooftop bar. I had like live music and stuff. I almost smoked a cigar. I just went on my own. I was like, this is so relaxing and just like good music, good vibes, nice people. It's like, especially at the moment, it's times when I want to go to, it's weird. I want to go to a bar, but I want to be left alone at the bar. I now want to be the old man who sits at the bar just listening to the music and just having a quiet drink. That's who I'm becoming. I'm becoming like a middle-aged Balkan man. um, so yeah, that's pretty much everything I think I've got to say on updates plus the theme of being unleashing your inner bastard. Unleashing your inner bastard. Yeah, you need to get into whiskey. I don't really have like yeah. Honestly, it's just age, man. I'm just like I don't smoke. I don't smoke cigars. I don't smoke anything. I don't even drink. You know. Um, last time I'm not gonna drink now until I go to the DR. I'm not gonna drink again because last time I did drink, I booked a flight to fucking Spain, and I only had like 2 glasses of wine. Because my tolerance is so low, I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'm booking a flight to Spain. And then I got up the next day, I was like, what are you doing? Why the fuck did you just do that? Um, yeah. To be honest, I actually don't like whiskey. The drink I would drink is rum. Um, I'm just not a big drinker, to be honest. Um, if I do drink, it will be rum and coke, or a mojito, or I like to sometimes drink with a girl on a date as well. That's always good. Um, yeah. By the way, actually, I might be in Manchester. If I come back to the UK, I might go over to Manchester, possibly. Um, I was thinking of going over on a Friday night to basically go to one of the salsa things over there, and then maybe knock around on Saturday day and just do a bit of cold approach and maybe get a few see a few boys are around. I think Christian might be around as well in a few weeks' time after the meetup. Um, yeah, I need to get. Last time I was in Manchester, like Christian snapped me with a few approaches, and I realized like things like thumbnails, like just doing AI thumbnails is kind of like it's not as good actually as just having just a good infield. Um, just an infield thumbnail. All you need to really do is just you don't even need to get the girl's contacts. You just need to do an approach on her. You know, then your mate snaps you. There you go. You got a thumbnail. It's probably going to get at least 1,000 views. Um, yeah, if I do come though, I'll let you know. Like the salsa thing, you might enjoy just coming to well, just coming to see it. In all honesty, I don't know how far you are from the centre. The first time out, you almost want to probably just come and see it more than anything else. It's a bit harder as a man to participate if you don't really know anything. As a girl, you kind of can because the guys will just drag you on the dance floor. But as you're the lead, as the guy, you have to at least know the basics. Well, you don't have to, but it does help. Uh, but yeah, I'm going to look into it if and when I do come back. My options are Sheffield or Albania. That's what I've decided on after the meetup. Sheffield or Albania. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. It's actually pretty tight between the two. I do want to go to Albania later this year, so yeah. Um, but mate, I'm gonna leave it there. We've done an hour. Hopefully that's been entertaining. Yeah, I think do some lessons. Nah, you don't actually need to be. Yeah, you don't need to. If you did 10 lessons that actually would be all you would ever need. I think I've done about 10 lessons of salsa, to be honest. So that's all you'd ever need. Do Albania, yeah, I will be. I'll be in Tirana later this year. So yeah, mate, I'll leave it there. Take it easy. Good to catch up. Hopefully the live was somewhat coherent. I'm pretty knackered, but anyway, at least I've done another live for the week. Peace, love. Josefski, Jasam Serbski.